Hi. Uh, I'm doing this in a different spot. I have a different backdrop and I have a light over there. But this isn't a review because there are a bunch of guys here. But I wanted to talk about the engineering and where the figures are going, where the new figures are gonna go, where they are going, in my personal opinion, and what I think I would like to see. Not, yeah, see done, see changed, or whatever. I don't know. Um, I grew up with a couple of G1s, Movieverse toys, and Unicron trilogy, mainly Cybertron. But I and G1 and the Unicron trilogy ones were splendid. They were fun to pose, play around with because they still had the basic joints: elbows, knees, hips and shoulders, and head. No ankle pivots or any ankle tilts, forward toes, whatever. But and they had smooth transformations, and they are durable. And I also had Movieverse toys. Not very many first ones, first movie ones, or Dark of the Moon, more like Dark of the Moon Legends, but a couple Revenge of the Fallen, and I did so. So Transformers have been, I feel like, aren't too much of a thing. Well, they are a huge thing, just like all toys, but they're not as big as they once were because phones exist, and mobile games, streaming services. You can do a lot of fun stuff. Nothing bad with people that play on their phone, watch stuff, or kids even play games, watch stuff on smartphones or whatever, whether it's theirs or their parents or whatever. It's not my job to critique that, and it's fine. You know, it's fine to have a phone, enjoy technology, but I don't know. But so Transformers aren't as big as they once were, but some kids still get these. I don't know how many or what kinds of kids. I don't know. But kids still get them for toys, because this is what all these guys still share in common. They may be from different lines, they may be from different eras, but they all share something in common or something completely different. But they all share something in common, and that's the fact that they're toys. They're meant to be played with and have fun. Um, and that's something that so I and one of the figures that I grew up with when I was younger was the Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster. Looking back on it, yeah, it's grown on me better because I'm older. When I was younger, it was frustrating, it was hard to do, and it just it was frustrating. It was a difficult transformation. Yes, it is. But looking at it now, it's more, I would you say, I can see the engineering prowess a bit better. It's not just these guys knew nothing what they were doing, and this is why this guy's transformation is absolute trash. Well, it's not. It's still not good. It's better. It's because that it was so complex. I don't know the age requirements on it, like if it was for 12 plus, 8 plus, whatever. But I received it at whatever age, I can't remember, but it was frustrating and I couldn't put him here. Number one, I don't know where he is, and there would be no room here because he's wide. But and that and same thing with like the Revenge of the Fallen Prime, Leader Prime, is that he was when I was younger, I knew that these few pieces went here, but I couldn't figure it out. Now, granted, I didn't have the instructions for him. He was used secondhand. But that doesn't matter. I got my Cybertron Quick Mix and my Cybertron Defense Force Scattershot and my Cybertron Defense Force Red Alert, and I didn't need any instructions to figure them out. And yes, they're more, I don't know, but they have good transformations. They're smooth, they're fluid, they hide stuff. They're not just like, oh, the guy lays down and a bunch of panels goes over him. Quick Mix and Scattershot do a little bit of lying down, but they still do stuff. And it's not just bland to make it look like, oh, it's easy, it's fun, you know. It was truly, they were fun, and they made sense, and they weren't frustrating. But those Revenge of the Fallen toys that I had, they were frustrating. It made me mad. Like, I can't do it. Now I can, but that's with age. That you're able to figure out those sort of things and easier. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what is being prioritized. The people that are buying these for toys, like kids or their parents or family members, or the collectors, which is fine. I know a lot of collectors on YouTube, they just want to buy mainline stuff, which is fine, because, you know, third party and Masterpiece, they're expensive. And especially when, like, these two exist, they are perfect representations of their G1 counterparts, where you almost don't even need to buy a Masterpiece or a third party. But it's to the point that it's nearly half and half. Now, Thrust is my only thing that I have experienced with Studio Series. So I can't really say much about that, but I brought him in because he's part of this. And I want to talk about, I just want to talk about the complexity and the stuff behind what's going on, and what I want to see happen in the future. So I guess I'll just bounce my way around, working at different points. So let's, I guess, start with small class. So Rat Trap, Blot, Countdown, Core Soundwave, and Twin Twist. He is also a representative of Omega Supreme over there, but he is just, and he's a Micromaster. But, okay, so I've split this up into two things. There is fun, and good transformation. So that is not frustrating, but it's good to where a collector could transform it and be like, yeah, this is well engineered. It's not overly complex, but it's not super dumbed down. So, and then there's good engineering, but something that is difficult, that could be difficult for a kid. So there's basically these are all good representations of good transformations, but they are split up into two categories: kids, or just more kid and toy based, opposed to one that really doesn't, that is a good transformation, but has a couple more steps than it should. Not really that, but it's a little more complex for the age that it's shooting for, I guess you could say. So let's just jump in. I will throw in a couple of other examples, but they won't be sitting here. So let's talk about, first of all, these two, Rat Trap and Soundwave. After looking at Soundwave, yes, the movie Transformers and the Beast Force guys They are definitely the hardest to pull off. You know, a bunch of them are animals and reptiles, and the others are real world vehicles, but they have very, very heavily stylized bodies. So, the engineering has to be a little bit different. You can't do the same thing for Soundwave as you do with Rat Trap. He's basically a box, and he is a rat. But I can really feel it, is that Soundwave, I've messed with him and played with him, and I like both of them. All these characters and figures I like, but Soundwave I like more. I feel the attachment to him being a toy because he's simple and easy to transform, and it's a good transformation. It's not like, oh, it's too simple, oh, it's too complex, why are there so many panels and stuff. And I like Rat Trap because he has a very clever transformation. Like, oh, I can't believe I wouldn't even thought that I wouldn't even, if I was designing this, I wouldn't even thought to put that there or something. But he has a deep enough transformation and clever transformation that I think a kid might struggle at and might get a little frustrated because there are some points where it just needs to get lined up just perfectly, which is fine. But when especially for it being so inexpensive, $10 to $12 that a kid could easily buy, and then it's somewhat more difficult, you could say. Not really difficult, but it's a little more depth. There's more depth to it and more layers to it to possibly make them frustrated. Not really make them frustrated, but make it harder for them to get from one mode to the other. That's why I like Soundwave. I love all these guys, and I like the risks that they took with Kingdom and the Beast guys. But in the line, and I'm not saying that it just needs to be G1 because it's easier. I want to see Hasbro or Takara, whoever, make figures that have good transformations, so a collector could like it, will like it, but also mainly for a kid to like it, to like the transformation, to want to transform it, and to want to learn this piece has to go here, this piece has to go there. That's how I learn. I never got into a lot of making stuff. I usually just play with toys and watch. I played with toys. I was never like born into sort of a place where, like, if your dad was a blacksmith or a machinist or a fabricator or whatever, where you learn to put pieces together. But with these guys, with the Transformers, you learn that because when you see something that has to split apart and put itself together and stuff like that, you learn that those sort of skills, or at least I did. I got that from it, and that these parts can move, they have to be manipulated before this can happen. And it can go from something that is a car to something that's a robot, or to an animal, or whatever. With just those simple, and you could make stuff with it, with that sort of knowledge. It's that, like Soundwave's arms, you can't fold his legs up before you move his arms back. And that's how I made this guy. And I made him to where if I were to give this to a kid, he would be able to figure it out, and he'd still be fun and play with it. And all these guys on here, a kid would definitely play with it, no doubt about it, because they're fun. They have good transformations. But like Thrust and Prime and Optimus and Rat Trap, they have those more deep. They're clever and they're good. They're not like mind-numbing, head-banging transformations. They're good and they're clever. But for a kid, they would be deep and difficult, you could say. when, like, Cyclonus, he's perfect, but he's not, but he doesn't hammer at your mind. He doesn't throw out all of the panels and stuff as Prime does. He just does what he does so simple and well done that that's why, like, he looks good in both modes. He has such a good transformation. It's fun. It's simple. If I gave it to a kid, I wouldn't be afraid to have them get mad at it. Cheetor, he's not simple, but you can definitely tell it's more that, like, dumbed down version of the Kingdom one, which it doesn't have all the panels. It's more child-based. Slammer and all the weaponizers, they take themselves apart, and they're big parts, so it's harder for them to be lost. And obviously they have that playability factor of creating whatever you want, but they're simple. They're simple to transform and take apart. This is deep cover, but like the Sideswipe mold, it's simple. You can see all the parts where they need to go, and it's not hard. Rescue Bot's Chase, he's more designed for even younger kids, but I can see that it's fun. It's not like pieces are clashing together. The Automorph is just, like, trashed. And this guy, I forget his name. It's like Powertron Turboid, I think. Yeah. I haven't really messed with him, but he's fun. He has a gimmick. No, he has no articulation, but he's fun. He has a pop-up thing to make him transform, and it's fun. Same thing with him. He doesn't have has no articulation. He transforms into a rectangle, a specific rectangle, which I'll get into when I get to reviewing him and his buddies that I've made. But I built him and his other friends to be fun and be fun. Well, that didn't make any sense, but to transform, be fun, and work. Soundwave, he has clever ideas, like his feet, his fists, and all that. And it's fun. That's Al, but like the Optimus Prime mold. It is so simple, and so iconic, but it's fun. Why do you think that they chose the Powered Convoy toy to become Ultra Magnus? And why have they re-released this exact Optimus Prime mold once for himself, for Ultra Magnus, essentially? They've released Ultra Magnus another time, and like 2 more times for this exact Optimus Prime mold. Because it's iconic, it's fun, and it's not frustrating. And it's a toy. And Twin Twist, he's fun. He may only have shoulders, and I just like him, and he is bound to his gimmick, but he's fun. He's a toy. He doesn't need all of the complex transformation. He just needs to pop up, be pulled back, pop up, and be a toy. As long as he has shoulders. The Micromasters, they're fun. They may be a whole lot smaller to where they could be lost, but they're fun. They're nice little toys to be played with. And they're simple. Blot, he may be one of the most absolutely rubbish figures in all of G1, but it's not the fact, is that he's fun, he's simple, and a kid could understand and play with him. Nothing against Rat Trap, Thrust, Optimus Prime, and a lot of the other figures from the War for Cybertron trilogy, and all the ones that are probably in Studio Series that are bad, and same thing with Hardhead. He's an update of the original nice nostalgic figure, just with elbows and knees. He's simple. Everything falls into place, and it's so clever. But it's but it's a good transformation. A kid could figure it out. And There's nothing wrong with the figures like Rat Trap, Thrust, and Prime. Nothing wrong with them because they're still good and they're still fun. They're not like, uh, I don't know, that new Mac, the Alien Attack Megatron. It's all panels. It's all. I don't own it, but I've seen reviews. It is all panels. It's fiddly. Everything gets in the way. This isn't my opinion on it. Just this is what I have seen. It's that obviously it's a third-party figure. It's not designed for kids to play with, but it's a not mind-numbing transformation that you just want to give up. And that's something that just I want to see going forward into the Transformers, into the Titan class figures. Yeah, Metroplex, like Metroplexes and Fort Maxes, base modes. Yeah, they're pretty weak, but they're still fun. If you spend like $150 to $200 on a like 19 to 20 like 24-inch toy, it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be a guy that runs around picking up little Legends class, little Legions, whatever, Micromasters, picking them up, throwing them down, whatever. They're fun, and the conversions aren't hard. Even the Arc that actually transforms into something, from reviews I've seen, I don't have it, it's fun, and doesn't hurt your brain like the two that I have, Fortress Maximus and Omega Supreme. I love them. Now, Fortress Maximus, yeah, his base and ship mode, they're not the greatest, which is fine, but it's not hard to get there. Omega Supreme, yes, I really, really like him. He's number one of my best figures in my collection, and there's a reason for that. But that's a discussion later. But I want to see that balance. I want to see the better balance where it's like all these other guys. Is that it's simple to where you could give the toy to a kid and they could figure it out and not be frustrated. And they've done it plenty of times. Titans Return, the entire line. Yes, I know. Everyone is worn out. Everyone hates the Combiner Wars. Yes, indeed. But they still had those fun and somewhat clever transformations and decent figures. Slammer, the Weaponizers, they're fun. I want to see that. I want to see this continuous balance between good transformations and good and clever transformations, but not frustrating for a kid, because these are toys. At the very, very end of the day, these are not Masterpiece, they're not third party. If you're expecting that much, just go spend your money on that. Don't spend your money on all these guys. Take all the money from these guys and put them into one of those. Because they don't need this. They need to be toys. They're not display pieces. Yes, a ton of people collect all these guys from different years, from different eras, different exclusives, all of that sort of stuff. All these same molds, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're toys. We collectors love to collect them. We love to transform them, and we don't want to see this franchise die, and we don't want to be pushed away by super simple transformations, but we don't want overly complex transformations that even try to explode our heads off because they're so bad. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see these figures moving forward to continue what all these other figures have done, except for Rat Trap, Thrust, and Earthrise Prime. Nothing against the figures like them, but I want to see more stuff like Deep Cover, and Cheetor, and Slammer. I want to see that. I want to see that fun. Like, I went into the store like a year ago and I saw someone looking. I don't know how old their kid was, but they were looking at the Starscream version of that. And after messing with that, if that kid was less than like 10, maybe like 12 even, they would have they would have needed the instruction booklet like 3 times for that guy. Of course, I didn't, but the concept is that it doesn't matter if they're cheaper, like Cyberverse, expensive, and more quote-unquote high-end, like Studio Series, or just regular, like the War for Cybertron trilogy. Doesn't matter. They still need to obtain and do the same thing that they're all bound, that their duty is to be a fun toy that does not make kids frustrated. Because I was there playing with Mixmaster and Revenge of the Fallen Prime, and I hated it. And one more topic to leave unrested for another day is that Cybertron is the best toy line of all time. Not of all time. Best Transformers line of all time. End of story. So, I'm going to leave it at this. Is that this is what I want to see from Transformers moving forward.